this is actually a panel, so there are not that many panels on the Pure conference, so this is something different this morning. I have just a couple of slides, but actually first I wanted to introduce the panel because they are actually going to be the experts, and that's why you're here, to hear them talk and ask them all sorts of questions. So I'd like to introduce everyone who agreed to be on this panel. So Lita Denny from University of Manchester.
I'm making an entrance.
Tiago Guedes from the Universidade de Lisbon. Mallon from the Ulster University. Katri Seitsonen from the Aalto University. Jordi Sanchez from the Universitat de Barcelona. And finally, Hanna from the Lund University, Hanna Voog. So, yeah, I'll get myself a chair in a moment. And realize that I'm missing a clicker, so I'll take that too. Oh, right, great. So, just a few slides to kind of introduce the topic. I think everyone who's ever put the portal out there wonders, okay, how do I make it top of Google search? How do I make sure that people know about it, that people come to it, use it, and so on? One obvious thing is put content on it. That's the one thing that we know that really works. It really helps when you have a lot of content available. So we've run a bit of a statistical analysis, and you will notice that this graph is focused on US and also on South Korea. The reason for that is because they don't have GDPR, they don't have those mandatory cookies policy, so we can actually see everyone and all the numbers who come to the portal. It would be amazing to know a bit more about the European side of this, but we never see the full picture there. So I thought it's good to just show it as a kind of as a test case, as a scenario to take a look at. And you instantly see that there are portals that are doing very well. There are portals that are performing quite well, could be better, and there are some which definitely need some help and attention. So content is one of the drivers, but that's definitely not the full story. Interestingly, how long the portal has been around has just a little bit of an influence, but it's not a strong factor. Number of portal users also has a bit of an impact, but that's basically the more hands you have to put the data in, the more data you get, the more visitors you get. So what else makes an impact? What else makes an impact is how well you promote it, how well you optimize it for search engines, so how much unique content you have, and how easy it is to find your portal. So if somebody comes onto your homepage, do they even know that you have that research portal? So that was just a preface. Actually, the most interesting part is talking to our experts. These are all the universities who we've seen that had good growth in the past couple of years, good growth of their portal numbers. And yeah, we wanted to talk with them to get in on their secrets. So maybe we could start with the first question. Just tell us, each of you, tell us a little bit about your portal. You know, is it mainly just for external users? Are you expecting your students, your staff also to use it? Maybe start with Hanna and go on.
So I'm from, is it on?
Yeah, maybe switch it.
I have a strong voice. I don't need a mic. Okay. So Lund University is, we've been having our Pure portal, we've been having Pure since 2016. And our portal is, we think of it as an internal use, of course, for our own researchers. We are a very decentralized university. So this is a way of gather all the information about all the subjects and all the researchers. But we can also see when we look at our statistics that we have a large incoming traffic on our portal that is external, so it's just a small portion that is internal on the portal. And we also see that about half of the visitors are not from Sweden. So we think that is... But our main focus is, of course, the external use, but I would really like to underpin that the internal use of making the whole picture of the university's CV very clear. And we don't see the portal as a standalone product. It's not like, yeah, we have the portal, it's over there. So we're working a lot with integrating it in the university's communication and other web pages. So if you're interested in that, I think you should visit my talk later this afternoon when I talk about how we have done that. Yes.
On the Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona, the main traffic is around the Spanish users. But I want to mention that our CEO position is very high. I have seen that the referrals are over in the position of a Google search, and the referrals about the portal appear higher than other questions of that researcher that for sure are more important in any case that he's a researcher on the university. So this is a big success for our team of communications. And also we see that we are seeing and searching for quality clicks. Those are around contact an expert or do a search with more than 2 clicks away. So those things are growing on our statistics, and we are very proud of it. And we think that another question is to spread the direct links on other information systems. For example, the master's explanations, they link directly to the teacher on the portal. So those 3 things, quality clicks, direct links, and a very fine work from our communication team is the key for having visits and also quality visits.
Yeah, hello everyone. In Aalto University we have done the same as in Lund. So we have connected our Pure profiles with our Aalto University website, meaning that our researchers, they have their profiles in Pure. And in addition, they have their official Aalto University profile pages at our website. And these are connected, meaning that the researchers, they update their pictures and descriptions to Pure, and from there they are integrated to our official websites. And in addition, latest publications can be also included in our university website profile pages. In addition, the latest publications can be added to any of our website. Departments use this function, as well as research groups. They want to showcase their latest publications. So we believe that this connection between Pure portal and our website has increased the visitors in our portal, because there are links to Pure everywhere at our university official websites.
Similar to the other stories, but for us, we're not as much focused on the portal. We focus very much on Pure profiles. So we promote that with new members of staff and PhD researchers when they start. They're asked to attend a session where we show them how to start developing their profile and give them information on key areas that we would like them to focus on initially. And through that, it seems to have then had a knock-on effect that it has increased the numbers in our portal. So I was actually quite surprised when Irina sent me the figures. And I think it's really purely from promoting it from within and letting the researchers and PhD researchers see the impact it can have for them if they engage with Pure and keep their Pure profiles up to date.
Well, at Nova University, it's a similar story also, but we launched Pure in 2015 and only decided to launch the portal in 2019, 4 years later. So we very much focused first on data quality and policy. We decided to create 2 mandatory upload dates in Pure, And we noticed that when the portal was launched, the amount of data and quality, and the quality of that data, as Irina mentioned, was fundamental for people to start using the portal, increasing their usage of Pure also, in improving their profiles. And some of our faculties, the major faculties, just as Manchester mentioned, we are also very decentralized. So the entire university uses the portal very much because it is one of the few centralized tools that everyone uses to broaden the impact of their research. So there are a lot of linkage. Some faculties, the major ones, are using the APIs to also connect with their websites. So basically, as Irina mentioned, our main focus was not marketing, was really the data quality. And I was also a bit surprised with the figures, but I think at the moment the secret is really data quality.
Thank you. I mean, there's not much more to add really. From Manchester's perspective, we're a bit like Lund, so we've had Pure since 2016. We launched our bespoke portal, for those of you that have been around long enough to remember when Elsevier gave us all portals in the nice colours that we wanted and in different fonts and things like that. So again, data quality was a big issue for us. I think implementing Pure has helped us a long way with that in terms of our data repository and also our HR data. So we one of the things we learned when we implemented the portal and Pure in general was that a lot of our HR data was in quite poor condition, and it wasn't until researchers started to see that about themselves that we managed to help our HR directorate to clean that up. So I think we've got about well over 5,000 live profiles for staff and students now at Manchester. We use all the modules in Pure. So, well, with the exception of ethics, so everything's switched on in our portal. We're looking forward to getting our test portal so we can start that journey around the redesign of moving. We went from bespoke to hosted in 2023, so we've lived that kind of the agony and the ecstasy of moving from on-premise to the cloud. So yeah, I think embedding it properly within your own ecosystem is absolutely critical, and they'll be different wherever you are. You know, each university can be quite unique. Engaging with your comms and marketing teams, things like your development and alumni, and also similar to other speakers, we focus very much on the individual researcher and their individual profile and the benefit to them as an individual in terms of driving engagement.
Thank you. Another question from me, and then we'll open the floor to questions. So you already touched a little bit on that initial filling out of data when a new researcher joins. Do you have any tips on how to maintain that engagement, how to make sure that researchers come back adding data? Any tips on that?
So we'll start at this end and go back again, I think. Yes, so I think when we launched Pure, we were almost, nowadays the term would be love bomb. We loved bomb the academics. Nothing was too much effort. Everything was turned around in a matter of hours, not days. We really tried very hard to give them almost a level of service that they were not acquainted with from a normal administrative team. And we've remarkably been able to maintain that because we soon realised that was the most important thing for them. If you can solve their problem when they need it solving, because they're busy people with lots of things to do, they'll come back to you time and time again if something's not quite right or they're not quite sure. And that really set the tone for us as a team. Where the team's very well respected in terms of the services we give to researchers. I think we embed ourselves in things like our library. They do an amazing programme called Research Essentials, so for new PGR students and new early career researchers, and we're embedded in that in terms of training, so we deliver training as part of that Research Essentials alongside our library colleagues. We offer, we used to do things like drop-in sessions in buildings. Now we do bookable slots. You know, post-COVID, we're all online, so a researcher can book a slot with somebody for 15 minutes, half an hour, to at their convenience, so that we can talk to them one-to-one. And we never turn down an invite. So if we're invited to give a presentation at a school meeting, an event, you know, a big, you know, change program, we always go along and we always showcase what we do. So we kind of just got to keep at it, I think, is the thing. And just maybe the final point on that is, if you really want to engage your researchers, as much of the stuff that you can automate, the better. The more stuff that you can show them that they just need to tweak. And so they're really only contributing things like their biographies and things that they really want to highlight, you know, that all their projects are there, all their publications are there, things like that. Then the more you can do that, the more that they'll be drawn to it, because it's the easiest route for them.
So 2 tips, in my view, that keep researchers motivated. One of them is data reuse. So we try to connect Pure with as much external systems as possible. So if they feel that they can use Pure as a central hub of information, in our case, to connect with the data repository, the DSpace repository, with ORCID, and also with the national CV platform that we have in Portugal. So by guaranteeing that they only need to use Pure, they are obviously instantly motivated, because they need to get all the other systems also up to date. In Portugal, we have normally regular upload seasons, so we see a spike in use, obviously, in that around those times. But it's been quite rewarding to see that, especially the young researchers, they tend to use the system throughout the entire year. So by guaranteeing the data reuse, we were able to see the usage of Pure in the portal increase a lot. So this would be the first tip. The second tip would be not to concede to the temptation of launching a new module when you don't have enough data quality in that module. We've seen that by being gradual in the release. We only launch a new module when it is completely bulletproof in terms of data quality, highly tested, highly validated by all the editors at the faculties. And by using this strategy, we've seen that researchers, even the ones that tend to be critical of systems, etc., they are almost instantly convinced that the system has quality, and so they start to engage more often. So those would be my 2 tips for engaging researchers.
We have adopted nearly identical model as Manchester. So when we implemented Pure, it was going over and above to help queries as soon as you can, so that they build up the trust in you and they trust the team. So we have worked really hard. There's only 2 members of the Pure Sport team, but we've worked really hard to ensure that when they have queries or they have issues, that we get that resolved as soon as possible for them. We also have regular training sessions, in that we have 2 dates every month that they can sign up for a 30-minute one-to-one slot. The dates are advertised on an internal web page. So we have that used regularly. Myself and my colleague will then join a 30-minute slot with that individual researcher. So they have their individual query answered there and then. We also have now introduced, for promotions, they must add the link for their Pure portal profile into their internal promotion applications. So once people realise they want to go for promotion and they know their Pure profile is going to be a part of that process, they're immediately in touch with us to get their profiles updated, and they start adding all the information they've been forgetting to add over the last few years. So it does create a lot of work for us, but it is worth it, because the engagement has really improved and the trust between them and us has really improved as well. So that would be the tip that I would give.
Yeah, in our university, our Pure team adds the publications centrally to Pure on behalf of the researchers, so they don't need to do that themselves. In addition, we import datasets through Data Monitor, and the project data is integrated automatically. So what the researchers need to do is to add their activities. Of course, this is not mandatory, but some use Pure as their online CV. But we believe that this central publication data is core in our university to motivate the researchers to update their profiles in other ways as well. We also have training sessions. Our team, we meet all the new professors, we introduce Pure for them, we help them in setting up their profiles. We have orientation meetings for all our new doctoral students where we introduce Pure. Actually, we are lacking something similar to our postdocs at the moment, so this is something that we should work on in the future. yeah, I think that's what are our tips in using Pure.
We think that is very important to generate trusting on the teachers. And the first idea is let him know that you do the things one time and you see wherever. This is very important for us because our past history was not so good. And this is very satisfying on Pure because the portal shows exactly what the teacher has been put on their curriculum, and he searches actively to see how it looks. Then also we have done lots of activities that only has been appreciated if they are on our portal, not, for example, the government portal. So this is very important to have a reminding to every teacher to, hey, put your information on our portal because this is more valuable than in other places. That is the main idea.
Yeah, so we also do a lot of training, of course, but I don't know if this translates very good in English, but in Swedish we have this saying that you should either use a whip or a carrot. I guess you know, yeah. And I've been working too long with Pure, so I abandoned the carrot. I'm only using the whip. I really, yeah. Or I use the carrot as a whip. Depends. No, but I think it's really important to realize that this is all about nagging. Of course, it would be great that if you once train somebody, but I would say that in addition to having like one-on-one sessions and presentations and etc. for the researcher, I think there are two other key elements that we really need to create incentives for the management to use Pure, even backend or the portal. So we need to create that kind of incentive from the top and down. So I think that is what we are focusing a lot on. Should we add, for instance, a year and a half we added SDGs, and that was mainly for the portal, I guess, because we wanted to showcase our part in the SDGs. So and that came with a very strong incentive from the management board, and the main communication was why should we do that, and that why should not be from the Pure team but from the management. But I also would like to highlight other key groups that are not researchers, but all the administrators. And this might depend on the size of our university. We have about 10,000 active profiles in our portal, so it's huge. But we have a lot of people working on different positions. They are working with the communication, with the web, with the personal catalog. They are working with the economy system. They all put in things in Pure that is the backbone of Pure. So I really think that those need to be addressed as well. They also need to have this why. Why do we do this? Because we need the ambassadors in order to get the researcher not only to enter once, but to enter every day. Yes.
Thanks. And now we can open the floor to questions. So does anyone have any questions? Don't be shy. Okay.
Thank you guys so much for telling us about how you work with the portals to increase visitors. I was wondering, how much do you guys work with CEO actively and accessibility actively to, help your visitors find their way to your portals and within the portals?
I'm not going to answer because I'm from Lund, and Ellen is from Lund as well, and we do work with this.
Excuse me, you said CEO, did you?
Search engine
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's not my area of expertise, but we do our web team, our comms and marketing web team. They did quite a lot of work on that when we first went with the bespoke portal. So optimizing search results. Because I heard the side about accessibility as well. So we did. When we launched our portal, we did a lot of testing with a member of staff who is partially sighted. So we did lots of work on screen readers and things like that. So yes, we've done that kind of through our tech team in the web team around search optimization, but also we've done some internal accessibility testing as well.
In my case, we blindly trust on communication team. They say A and we do A. And for the accessibility, we must complain with the main rules of the IT department. So websites must be accessible in the way they say, and we obey that thing.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, Nick.
Hello, thank you very much. This is very, very interesting, thank you. But I just wanted to get your opinion on what would be the best tool that you would recommend for tracking usage of the portal? And then follow up to that, if you do track, I'm sure you do you share that information with your senior management maybe? Is there an impact of that for sharing that information to say, you know, your portal has increased usage and all that?
We are using Google Analytics at this point, but we had a very long time, I think it's almost 2 years, when we didn't have any tracking at all, because the tracking system that was connected to the portal was not the one that we were allowed to use. Yes, we are in Sweden and we need to be allowed. So we just started, but we're not, at this point, we're not sharing it. I guess Ellen maybe can say something about it, but we don't share it. But we use, and we find it kind of interesting to see. We follow the countries in the world that has visited our portal, and we recently reached Chad in Africa, and we were very pleased because that was the first visit on our portal from Chad. Yeah.
I'll give it another go, Nick. We also use Google Analytics, and I confess that we don't track usage as much as perhaps we used to, and that's. We have an enormous amount of hits on our portal, some of which will be bots, which is okay, you accept that some of that. But people stopped asking because we get 500,000 hits a month, and so they just stopped worrying about portal being used. And a part of that, I think, for us is it's our only staff profile, so we don't have other staff profiles on schools and departments' websites that if people have them, they're secondary to their pure profile. And so I think we maybe don't get the pressure to illustrate the value of the portal. And some of that might be like, perhaps like Lund, that we've had it since 2016, that people have just stopped asking, well, is anybody looking at it? Because clearly people are looking at it.
In our case, Google Analytics must be deeply explored than in our case. We are reading lots of books and doing lots of tests to have more use from Google Analytics. And also, kindly, Irina has sent us their data of their engine of statistics. And we think we have a very large way to run. Because we are very interested on those quality clicks I told you that don't appear on a very basic file of Google Analytics. So we have to work hard to see it. And also we have explaining people how to use the fingerprints area. You put a very large phrase of your research, and you identified people that do the same thing. This is a very interesting function that is very appreciated.
Well, at Nova we also use Google Analytics. Irina is also kindly shared their own statistics at Elsevier, and we use it only for internal purposes to monitor how our success, basically, or not. Sometimes we see some spikes, sometimes we see some downturns. We had a huge spike in the pandemic. I think everyone had the same reaction from their portals. And in terms of the directorial team internally, they also have some interest in seeing the markets that click most in the portal. We have a lot of traffic from the United States and Brazil, obviously with the connections with our Portuguese and the same language. So those have been the two main usages, one internal to monitor and the other one to see the markets that click our portal.
Does anybody else want to say something? We have a question from the audience. Melody?
And this is more of a comment than a question into my Elsevier friends. You have the numbers, so those of us who can't or for some reason can't access Google Analytics, I think as we build this new portal, maybe you add something where we can go in and track our numbers through the numbers that you guys get. It's just a suggestion, and it's something that I would really love because Google Analytics is not the best. It's what we have. But if that's something y'all could look at as you're developing the new portal, I don't know that anyone in this room would disagree.
Yeah, that's a good idea, something we can definitely think about. For now, if when you were setting up the portal overall, you allowed us to use Adobe Analytics on your portal, we have the data, so please don't be shy. Reach out to your contact and they can share it with you. Okay. I believe there was more questions.
Oh, I have one here. Anna?
Not so much a question, maybe more a comment. Since we're between portals at the moment, as I see it, and getting back to Hanna's carrot and stick, I think that it's important to remember that if we want our researchers to go in and do something about their profile, then the portal should live up to that. Because if it doesn't give them what they want, then they won't go there. So can I just say CV module again? We need it, we need it, we need it. So, just to say that we need a new portal, because the old one is dying between our hands, right? So please, more CVs.
Understood, message received. I believe we had a question in the front.
Coming, running.
Yeah, thank you. My question is kind of related to open access. So you mentioned that the more content that is on the portal, the more visits you get. So I was wondering, is there a correlation to the amount of open access that is on the portal? That's a question for Irina, and I have a question for the panel as well. Do you also use the portal actively to make research available to the world, or is it more like a showcase of your researchers and departments?
I'll quickly answer my part of the question. To be honest, we've never looked into it. So, great question. I'm not sure I would be able to get the data out for that, but yeah, now I have something to think about. Okay, on to the second part.
So we don't just use it to showcase individual researchers, it's all our content, so you can, the vast majority of visitors are looking at people and outputs. So they're the two drivers, really. And I think one of my library colleagues is in the room, so I'm not going to give any stats because I'll almost certainly be wrong. But we have a huge amount of open access and publicly available outputs on the portal, and that's by far the sort of biggest driver, I think, that and people to the portal. But we've got all the nice stuff as well. We've just launched facilities, and so now you can see our facilities and equipment, and our technical services teams have got profiles. So it's kind of the people in the outputs is the doorway into lots of other content. And I think, as Oliver said, finding collaborators, I think, is also a big driver.
So we use the portal to amplify the impact of our research. It has all our content. It's now mandatory in terms of policy, so it's really the stick strategy. And in terms of open access, the way we built it is that Pure is the mandatory system. So people have to upload their content in Pure, and then it gets pushed with a direct connector to DSpace. So really all open access content must be in the portal. So it really is both. Okay.
For us, we have a mandatory process in the UK called the REF, and it's all around open access of particular research outputs. because we have that, a lot of our research outputs are open access, and they have to be added to their Pure profiles within 3 months of the date of acceptance in many cases. So it does help increase open access then through the portal, but all other content is also added. So it's mainly focused on Pure profiles and uploading their data as soon as possible to enhance their Pure profiles.
Yeah, of course, the number of open access publications increases all the time. So in our university, we are about in 85% at the moment in university level, and depending on the field, even more. And we try to highlight, for example, annually the most downloadable articles from Pure, and this way make it more relevant to the researchers. And then for the other question about the portal, I think that at least our communication teams use the portal to track specialists from different fields to request for media, for example, and find them the perfect candidates.
On our university, the librarians has made the main web page of open access. So they maintain lots of numbers of every color, every metal, and also they have a thermometer that we see how cold or hot are the new approaches of the research output. So this is a matter of librarians, and we are very proud of the results.
Okay, I think we should remember that Pure is not an institutional repository, but a RIM system or a CRIS system. So that's two different things. So we still have another system in the background that uses the purpose of institutional repository. But of course, we are working very heavily on adding all the links and files that we could to Pure to promote open access.
All right, I think we have a question and a comment back here.
It was just a comment on the CV. Across all Pure instances, there are, at least last time I checked, there were like 30,000 CVs. So it's only a very, very small fraction of people who are actually using CVs. I'm not saying that we shouldn't add more to it, but it's not overly used. So, and also your portal profile is kind of your CV, because that's where you have all of your content.
Could I comment on that? Yeah. I mean, the reason why it's not used, it's because of its lack of functionality. So there is a huge demand and a need to be able to print CVs in the format that many funders need or many accreditation centers need. So I would not judge the numbers based on if there is a need on the current situation. I really think that it could be improved, and I really think that adjustments that you can set up your own CV templates very easily for specific schools or for departments, or that would benefit, and then you will come back and say, oh, we just hit the 3 million CV line, and I would say, I knew it.
Thank you for that comment. 3 million.
I'm
just going to questions?
Go ahead.
Just
want to, I guess, reiterate what Lund said. We've tried to use the CV module, and we've tried to use it effectively for our P&DR exercises, and because it's not designed, it's not functionally possible to do that, but we do have quite a strong push to do that if we can do. So I agree, it's maybe not used. I just looked at we've only got 659 CVs in our system, but that's largely because the restrictions around. You can't design your own CVs effectively. If you could design your own CVs, I think we'd see a huge uptake in terms of the templates if we could have just applied a template ourselves.
Yeah, and I would be honest, I don't promote the CV module at all. When people are asking me how to gather data, I'm more happy or willing to do a report for them than show them the CV module at this point.
We have another question, comment, Bonnie?
Hi, good morning. This has been great. So on our portal, which is private, so it's used a little differently, but one of the things we have enabled are the social media metrics. We have the Plum and the Altmetric showing on it, and that's been a really big seller. It's one of the few places where people can see their own research, see what the immediate impact is, and they're interacting because that way they can go and repost, tweet, promote it further out. Do you all have that same experience on your portals, or is social media not a reason to use it or a driving force?
We kind of got a lot of critique about those because since it's a third-party service and you need to be logged in, or you see different things and they differ. So not 100% positive from the ladies in Lund.
So almost the opposite there. We've had Altmetrics and Plum analytics on our public portal for quite a number of years, and we get barely any kickback on it really. I think it's part of the academic psyche now. Maybe when Altmetrics first came around, it was it's this way, it's that way, it's sceptical, but it's just become embedded now. I think everyone expects to see it, and it looks quite nice.
Well, we have Altmetrics and Plumex turned on also in our portal, and the only feedback we have is in direct sessions and conversations I have with researchers. They value it, so we have a positive feedback at Nova.
Yeah, we have very positive feedback about it. It's part of the training session that I would deliver when new members of staff start the university, and I would always showcase one of our members of staff's pure profiles and particularly show them the Plum prints and the Altmetrics donuts, and they love it. So we've had very positive feedback about it.
Yeah, we also have the metrics in our university, and I think that researchers think this as a good functionality. Yeah.
We are actively searching more metrics and Altmetrics providers, and this is a matter of the librarians. I don't know it with enough information, but the first contacts were very interesting. Those products of analytics about those Altmetrics were very interesting, and we are trying to catch the best provider.
I think we are... Oh, just one last question before we run out of time.
No, it's okay. Søren from Aalto.
Yeah, thanks. So a quick question. The portal currently disallows crawling from ChatGPT, which means that the content on the portal can't be used by language models such as ChatGPT. Do you have an opinion on this? Do you think that's the correct decision, or would you like to be able to configure the portal to allow it to be crawled, to be used for language models?
Ooh, this is a hot topic. We've had actually quite a few discussions internally around this, so I'm very curious to know what the panel thinks of this.
So, general views on crawlers rather than ChatGPT, having lived the trauma of portals not functioning because we're highly crawled at Manchester, shall we say, and we've had to do extensive work both on our original portal, our bespoke portal, and then when we moved to cloud with Elsevier to block an enormous number of IPs. So I think overall, I mean, the data's publicly available. You know, it's hard to argue that it shouldn't be allowed for things like ChatGPT. If it's publicly available, then why not? I think my main concern would be, is it going to kill it? And that's always the issue for us at Manchester is you know, if you start seeing bots and crawlers on it, it just kills the portal, and it's kind of for us it's unacceptable service for our academics. So yeah, that would be my biggest concern. Will it stop the portal?
Well, if the information is public, it's logical to be available. But in our case, we're also quite curious. It's artificial intelligence, language models are quite the buzzword. But I think it's all too still very early stages, and the consequences are still yet to be assessed, I think. So we are curious, but if it's public information, I think in the end it will be logical.
We have two ideas around this. Our repository is very, very bombed with with visits from China, for example. We must to invest a lot of money on new hardware to keep the servers up. So the idea is to Cloudflare it or have around firewall level 7, and also think about how it's working Cloudflare on the pure products, mainly on portals. We have a different feeling about it. For example, with normal day-to-day operations, we have returned lots of 500 status that is blamed on Cloudflare for a false positive attack. So Cloudflare is a great tool, but it must be cured very well.
Yeah, I think that would be great, but I think that Elsevier should focus on making everything else work in the portal first. Yes, and that's my personal opinion. Yeah.